What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is John and this is John Paul Investing. Today we were going to be looking at a brand new investor presentation that Nano Dimension released to us investors that is going to clear up a lot of questions that a lot of people have had. I'm actually very happy with how they presented all the information here because they really hit the nail on the head with a lot of questions people have. So I'm very excited to share this with you guys because I think it's going to answer a lot of your questions. And of course, if you have any more questions, you can always just leave a comment. I will get back to you in the comment section. Now, before I did get into the investor presentation, guys, I wanted to remind you that I do have a newsletter. All you have to do is go to johnpaulinvesting.substack.com and you will be able to subscribe to my newsletter absolutely free. And this is a place that I'm going to share my my absolute deepest thoughts about how I feel that people should approach investing to make sure that they are not emotionally inclined to make bad decisions. I really believe that the value is in the underlying assets and investments that you decide to choose and own for a long period of time. So, if you want reinforcing things like that, that's what I'm going to be sending out in this newsletter. So I highly recommend you sign up for that if that's something you're interested in. I also want to remind you that I'm also going to be opening up the YouTube subscribe option. So if you are a regular viewer here and you would like to support the channel and help me continue my efforts in researching the stocks that I choose to research, I highly recommend you guys join the channel using the join button. It should show up next to the subscribe option whenever I activate it. I'm not quite there yet, but I do want to let you guys know that it will soon be an option if you guys want to support the channel. Of course, I will try and throw some bonus features in there if you do join to, have some perks, and you'll also get a fancy badge next to your name once you do join. So that is also a perk and a bonus if you decide to join. Also, I'm going to make sure it doesn't break the bank. So if you want to join the channel, I'm going to make it start at around $3 a month. And then from there, it'll go up to beyond $5. But anyways, that's enough from our sponsor, John Paul. And we are going to go to the investor presentation for Nano Dimension. So I'm going to skip over this first slide, but I will say that the first thing, I've already gone through this whole presentation. The first thing I noticed is that they actually really tried to improve some of the visuals here. So we have a better idea of what their value proposition is. And they really lay it clearly out. So let's get to it. Nano Dimension's additive manufacturing systems appeals to an expansive array of customers given the additive manufacturing of electronics and additive manufacturing production offerings. The first one is going to be the Dragonfly LDM, or the Lights Out Digital Manufacturing. This is their flagship model printer that they have available right now on the market. This is a 3D additive manufacturing electronics printing system, so it is able to simultaneously lay out nanoconductive and dielectric layers to create whatever kind of 3D printed circuit board you would like to make on the spots through the use of a digital CAD file or whatever they use. I believe it is SolidWorks is what they use. Point is it's from digital file straight to prototype printed circuit board. The second offering from Nano Dimension after their recent acquisition of Nano Fabrica is the Fabrica 2.0 printer. What it is able to do is to print out things of super small scale, and they actually benefit from their machine because the smaller the thing that you're trying to print, the more of them you could print at once because it all works within a specific surface area, and whatever you can fit in that surface area, you can print it. So the smaller the print, the better, and hopefully they can integrate these two in the future, but right now it is two separate machines. So why would anyone invest in Nano Dimension? What are their financials looking like? What do they have in store for investors? Nano Dimension's products have high gross margins and recurring revenues from system sales, service contracts, and consumables, or the materials that their printers use. The razor and razor blade model, as they have used, we're looking at around $450,000 for the Nano Dimension's Dragonfly LDM printer and around $350,000 for the Fabrica 2.0 printer. So if you have anyone purchasing both of these, that is around $800,000 in sales pre-tax. And what gives it the razor and razor blades business model is the fact that they are able to accompany the hardware sales along with recurring sales of the materials that they use to print out. For the Dragonfly LDM, it's around 10 to 15% per machine per annum. And for the Fabrica 2.0, we're looking at around $50,000 to $100,000 per machine. Based on what we know from Nano Dimension's Dragonfly LDM model, we know that they have sold around 60. So for the sake of this example, I'm going to get 60 printers and multiply that by 45,000, which would be 10% of the sales price of the machine. And that gives us a grand total of around $2.7 million. So that means we could expect at least, hopefully, ballpark, we're getting, assuming that they don't sell any more printers, we would expect around $2.7 to $2.8 million per year in just materials, and then having to replace them with, new materials, new nanoconductive and dielectric inks. The challenges to adoption of additive manufacturing is going to be the quality, consistency of each printed circuit board or prototype printed, the slow production speeds of these prints, the accuracy of the machines have to be, precise if they want them to be consistent. The materials have to be made to be able to merge together whenever they are printed and cured at the same time on top of each other. The post-processing, so it has to be able to withstand, the actual use and like soldering and putting things together once it's actually made. And also there's the system maintenance of the actual machines. So for any of this to even work, the machines have to be in tip-top shape. So without this combination, it is going to be very difficult for this stuff to get to scale and for it to be applied in a variety of manufacturing verticals across the globe. But regarding this slide, what Nano Dimension is saying is that these things are, the not trivial things, but in these cases, deep and machine learning have, not been applied to these things. So they believe that's the missing puzzle piece here, which points us to their strategic acquisition of the robotic brain, or DeepCube. DeepCube was acquired for their deep learning, machine learning technology, the hardware agnostic for deep learning software acceleration engine. It was designed based on the breakthrough research for both training and inference frameworks. It gathers data from the print, I would imagine. It processes the data to make sure everything is in line, accurate, made to spec. They train the algorithm to make sure it does that every time after that if it finds a mistake. And then lastly, it makes sure to validate the previous 3 steps to make sure that it is doing it correctly each time. I guess it's a lot easier to understand when you put it that way, but I'm sure it's way more difficult than that. The investment thesis for Nano Dimension: what are shareholders investing in? In the case of Nano Dimension, what are you getting when you buy their stock? Where is your money going? Well, first we got to cover what it is not when you buy Nano Dimension stock. Nano Dimension is not a company that will show in the short term revenues and profit growth on a quarterly basis. It is also not a company that will pay inflated prices for acquisitions in order to accelerate revenue growth and please a specific group of investors. What Nano Dimension is, though, is a company that will grow into step functions led by synergistic acquisitions and product and technology breakthroughs through their research and development with their huge cash stack, as we are aware of. Their goal is to create a superior revenue and return on investment model to benefit the business a lot more than it would if they were to just, try and rush things and get these, short-term, quick revenue streams that probably won't last very long. And put in even simpler terms, they're not trying to please investors now. They're trying to set up their business to be very fruitful in the future and not as fruitful now. The opportunity cost of trying to please investors now would be detrimental for their business in the future. They need to make sure they're getting the best technology available to us as, long as it takes. Think about biotech investment models, but without the catastrophic downside. So how exactly is this even possible when you make this investment? Why would anyone invest in this? When you invest in Nano Dimension, you are investing in their balance sheet and following them in their mission and vision to, expand the business to get it to where they want it to be. They haven't put exact numbers about their expected revenues, but later on in the slideshow, you'll see, they're talking about billions of dollars a year if they can get to that point, but they, of course, have to get to that point. Their vision is first to transform the additive manufacturing of electronics and adjacent additive manufacturing sectors into an environmentally friendly and economically efficient additive manufacturing industry 4.0, as they call it. This would enable a one production step conversion of digital designs, in just a little file into fully functioning mechanical and electronic devices on demand, anytime, anywhere. This is like some kind of Star Trek level stuff, I'm telling you. Their mission is to build an eco-friendly and intelligent distributed network of these AMI self-learning and self-improving machines, which will deliver a superior return on investment to their owners who decide to buy them, and as well as their shareholders. I realized that I have my viewer box on. There's going to be no viewers because this is not a live stream, but anyways, I will continue. Should you decide to invest, think about the balance sheet. Don't think about immediate cash flows in the business. You will be disappointed. So here's what the balance sheet's looking like for Nano Dimension as of today. They've got around 1.4 billion in cash on the balance sheet. They've sold around 60 additive manufacturing of electronics 3D printers, or the Dragonflies. They have 3 breakthrough 3D micro AM printing machines. I think these are the Fabrica 2.0s. This includes one to a blue chip Western HLS player. They've got 19 patents with 106 patent applications. They have no technological competition as of yet that they are aware of. So pretty much they are on their own playing field. They are setting the standards right now. They have a vibrant research and development team in additive manufacturing of electronics. This is around 130 people in the R&D team now today, compared to around I believe around 30 people that they had last year, 30 or 40 people. So they have essentially tripled their hands, their manpower in the business, and they are able to hopefully use this to progress in their vision and mission. This is a nice little probability estimates table they prepared for us. The numbers on the right side are not -1, No, just look at this table right here. It is the probability of what they believe could happen, 1 being very low and 5 being a very high chance of it happening. The probability of them not having enough cash to fulfill their long-term business plan is very low. The probability for a soon-to-arise need for more capital and further dilute shareholders is very low. The probability of not growing as the results from above is very low. So we're not expecting them to raise any cash anytime soon. They have more than enough. I have said this in previous videos. The probability of them overpaying for acquisitions is low, though they will take their time still if they see something that is, worth, investing their time into it. The probability of them failing in certain acquisition integrations is medium, just because there's a chance that the technology that they're looking for might not be worth the price. The probability of them failing to engineer and build the products that they're promising or trying to promise to us is very low. They're very confident in their ability to meet these goals, but it's going to take some time. Probability of them failing to achieve these timely goals is of course medium, because no one can predict the future exactly, but they have an idea that it's probably going to take a little bit longer than investors are willing to wait. The probability of them not delivering products to market is very low, while the probability of them not delivering products to market on time is medium, so probably likely to happen. The probability of them being late to market because of competition is very low, probably non-existent as of today, because we don't know of any direct competition to Nano Dimension quite yet. So what are the opportunities when you decide to invest in Nano Dimension? What does the upside look like? Nano Dimension is modernizing the factory. They are getting essentially a full factory, full of a ton of employees and a bunch of machines, unnecessary machines, and condensing that down to the size of their Dragonfly LDM printer. Other technologies have also dematerialized analog processes, Instagram with photos, YouTube for video and, educational video content, Spotify for the radio, LinkedIn for, ads for posting yourself out there to try and get a job, things like that. All of this stuff was dematerialized. So what they're trying to do is dematerialize the manufacturing industry from a full warehouse down to pretty much a thing the size of a fridge. They are converting the old analog process from the initial CAD presentation, a bunch of etching and all of this other stuff, lamination, outer layer imaging. They're essentially changing this old process to the new process, which would condense it down from maybe 20 steps down to just, 3 or 4. The benefits of additive manufacturing of electronics: it removes many of the challenges of the intensive traditional printed circuit board manufacturing process, which is 70 plus steps, while also allowing completely new designs that would not even be possible with the processes that exist traditionally. So using this deep learning based AI platform, their systems will become self-improving, they'll become faster, higher yields and higher throughputs and efficiency. They'll, crank out these printed circuit boards a lot more accurate, a lot faster, and they won't, bleed energy, however that happens exactly. Less interference within the circuit boards. The winning formula for additive manufacturing is real-time imaging, so maybe using vision learning similar to what Tesla's doing. This is purely speculation, combined with deep learning, artificial intelligence to implement the processes that I just shared with you in the slide above. So fusing together the training and inference from the artificial intelligence for deep learning, they're able to gather data from the print, process that data to hopefully train the machine to make better decisions whenever it decides to make the actual print. It'll validate itself to make sure it's following its trajectory, and hopefully that's what ends up building these super accurate and high throughput printed circuit boards that we've all been waiting for from Nano Dimension. So here's an overview of Nano Dimension's business as of today, September 20th, 2021. Highlighting the Dragonfly LDM 2.0. This is available for purchase today, or you're able to lease it. It is easy to order their proprietary inks, and there is system training and support if you decide to buy this device. If you can't afford the device for any reason, they have an in-house 3D fabrication service called Nano S or Nano Services. This is a collaborative creation and design process with some of the people on their side of the business, so you'll be working with someone in Nano Dimension. You have the option to create proof of concepts and produce at a low volume at a much lower cost than you traditionally would with the analog process. This is also available through their James Marketplace, which is a marketplace where a lot of these engineers are able to share ideas in this new technology that Nano Dimension is presenting to us with these machines. Their machines allow the manufacturing of high-performance electronic devices, or HiPEDs, which they have trademarked, through a one-of-a-kind AI-driven 3D inkjet process. You have the ink that is dispensed through this nozzle, and droplets form onto the substrate, and once it cures, it creates a nice line that is able to conduct, or if it's the dielectric, it's just part of the structure of the circuit board. So how does it work exactly? Well, there is 2 inkjet print heads that print both the nanoconductive and dielectric inks simultaneously. The object is built up in layers, so it does that for each layer as it cures, and eventually you end up with a fully functional printed circuit board. So to compare the traditional analog design with their design, there's a lot more steps that go into processing this. So each line here individually, with the mesh, the solid gray, the orange, all these dashes, and the blue, all of these are different individual processes, but using the bottom 2, we're able to see with additive manufacturing of electronics, you're able to actually create entirely new internal structures that wouldn't even be possible with traditional designs, and it is done with simply two materials. Essentially, you have your dielectric material and your conductive material, which allows, again, for a pretty much seamless, easy process to end up with a fully functional circuit board. Along with their Dragonfly LDM system, there is the Fabrica 2.0 system, which they gained through their acquisition of NanoFabrica. This provides unparalleled synergy with Dragonfly's LDM AME system and enables intertile stitching, allowing for large build volume printing. So in their pre-launch with their recent acquisition, they have 3 machines that are in use now with paying customers, and second and third generations of these printers will be released, projected in 2022 to 2024. I'm going to lean more towards 2024 because if they put that out there, that's probably closer to the timeline they're expecting. They currently have 106 patent applications. They acquired 6 additional patents from their NanoFabrica acquisition, so they have a lot of patents waiting for them. As the patents get approved, they essentially are acquiring more value to their business because these are intellectual properties that have value tied to them, so this improves their balance sheet even more. So as of today, they have sold over 60 Dragonfly LDM models. They've raised over, close to $1.5 billion with no debt on their balance sheet. They have invested over $80 million into the business. This is expected to at least 5-fold or 10-fold over the next 5 years. And along with this research and development, they have acquired new intellectual property with their acquisitions of DeepCube and NanoFabrica. And with all of these things combined, they are able to hopefully target the American, European, and Asian markets as time progresses. So aside from what it does, what are the products it also offers whenever you decide to use their printers and invest in their business? What are their customers getting? The problems with the current industry is, firstly, it is poor efficiency, it is eco-unfriendly, it is wasteful, not supporting any kind of sustainability for the long term. It's a slow production process with very high costs, with very long lead times and supply chain issues for the most part. Thirdly, whenever you do this stuff, you have to outsource to third parties, which puts your intellectual property at risk. Using their technology, their value proposition here is essentially protecting your IP. Normal manufacturing does take around 3 weeks on average. What this does is cause delays in ideation and innovation. You have to wait 3 weeks before you can even make any new iterations of your initial prototypes, which just extends the timeline, and time is money. So all in, it's just a lot of time and money associated with the traditional process. Nano Dimension aims to solve this. So what are the markets Nano Dimension is targeting, and what kind of traction can Nano Dimension's printers and technology have in these markets? According to these studies, which I will disclose happened a while ago, pre-pandemic, the total addressable market for 3D printed electronics is expected to be worth around $2.3 billion by 2029. These figures could be a lot higher if you account for, things like inflation. Analysts predict the 3D printed electronics market will be the next high growth application for product innovation. In 2017, 3D printed electronics market size was around 176 million. This was expected to reach 592 million by 2021 and 2.4 billion by 2025. So this again conflicts with the first one. Generally speaking, I could expect around $2 billion market globally in the next 10 years for this kind of product. And considering where Nano Dimension is right now, they are expected to be the leaders in this kind of process. Now, if we're going to look at additive manufacturing as a whole, so including everything that's not additive manufacturing of electronics, in 2020, this market was around $13.78 billion and is expected to compound at around 21% annually from now up until 2028. In a post-COVID world, the data projects inefficient, risky supply chains. As we have seen, it's impossible to, even buy a used car right now. Try and go to the store and try and buy lumber right now. Niche parts for any kind of construction. It's just really hard to get your hands on things. So essentially what they're saying is that their product is able to mitigate all of these supply chain headaches. You don't have to worry about any of that if you have the machine in-house. They have a variety of existing customers already, some in the defense space, medical space, automotive and industrial, aerospace, military and government, research space, and tech space. Big names being L3 Harris, TTM Technologies, the U.S. military. These are huge entities that have a large interest in things that are associated with, protecting intellectual property and, just all around being a better manufacturing process. So if we go by geography, this is how it looks. We have some here in the U.S., have some here in Europe, and a bunch here in Asia. So Nano Dimension has a footprint pretty much all around the globe at this point already, just not at, its full potential yet. So based on what we know, what do the financials look like and why is it worth investing in them? They're well financed with around $1.4 billion in cash with no debt. Relative to today's stock price, they have a large upside potential. They are steadily demonstrating trading liquidity, so a lot of shares are available in the markets and circulating. There's prominent institutional investors that are holding the stock already at a much higher price than market value today. In some instances, almost triple today's stock price. They've sold over 60 printers for proof of concept, along with several Fabrica 2.0 systems sold. They have accumulated over $17 million in revenues, which doesn't seem like much, but again, they are trying to demonstrate a proof of concept in their business. And of course, unlike a biotech investment, they are hedged on the downside due to their intellectual property and the cash they have on their balance sheet. They were trading at around 65 cents per share. This ended up increasing by an order of magnitude if we go to today's stock price at close to $6 per share, and it is expected for this figure to continue to increase as they share more material gains with us investors. So if you want to do this on an annualized basis, this is around a 700% growth in their stock. The kind of growth that you expect in an industry that has, new innovation and is, again, a paradigm shift is generally going to be parabolic because it is going to flood the market with a lot of demand and simply not enough supply to meet the demand that's going to increase for, this new technology. So while this isn't really indicative of price, this essentially indicates the kind of growth that they are expecting whenever they meet these new milestones in their business. Starting in Q4 2021, they're releasing the Dragonfly PIK, which is the performance improvement kit for their existing machines. They're going to target new mergers and acquisitions with technologies that align with theirs. They're going to work on, more deep learning and machine learning integration. They're going to release another Dragonfly iteration. Hopefully by 2024, they're working on a next-gen machine that's even better than the Dragonfly altogether. And as time goes on, they're just going to keep making further progress. So all of that being said, what is the future of Nano Dimension? So since early 2021, a three-pronged approach was planned already and implemented as of their vision and mission. The first being accelerated research and development and product development. The second one being customer-centric go-to-market strategies, and the third one being synergetic mergers and acquisitions. Today, they have reached the stage of around between prototyping and commercial. They're not quite to the point where they can make 3D printed circuit boards that are commercially viable, but they are beyond the step of simply prototyping things. So I would say they're pretty close to commercialization. They just, again, need the materials, but I would say they're pretty close to there. Ultimately, though, their goal is to get to industrial and then military spec grade printed circuit boards. I mean, if the military is going to use it, it really needs to be good. So this is ultimately Nano Dimension's goal. Nano Dimension expects to have a team of over 500 people by the third quarter of next year. So between now and 12 months from now, they are expected to add over 400 people to their team, and that is absolutely huge. This does seem a little far-fetched, but hopefully if they can, meet these milestones, then that is, again, a better thing for us shareholders. Nano Dimension's in-house mergers and acquisition team is driving a focused mergers and acquisition strategy that will help them to realize customer synergies whenever they see them, accelerate research and development with any enabling technologies that they find outside of Nano Dimension's doors, and overall increase the capabilities across the larger supply chains that are available. Now, finally, they kind of let us know how many they had to go through before they set their eyes on these two acquisitions. They had around 170 target companies that they looked at. Over the last 12 months, these companies were scanned with focuses on technologies, customers, and existing business models. The observations that they made were there are three types of businesses that they were coming across. The first one is a type A inflated valuation company. These are companies that are asking around 10 times their earnings. Generally, the historical average is around 7 to 9 times earnings. The second type of company is a company with timing misalignment, so they're not quite far along in their commercial process to integrate with Nano Dimension's Dragonfly printers. They're simply not in a position to fully serve as a production machine or any technology that could synergize with Nano Dimension's Dragonfly printer. And then the third one is a type B or C type business, which is a somewhat high valuation resulting from public and venture capital and private equity market conditions back in 2020. None of these were able to complement Nano Dimension because either the valuations were too high or there just was no commercial synergy viable at the time that they were looking at it. So the outcome from all of this is that these observations led them to amend a specific kind of mergers and acquisition roadmap. They know exactly what they're looking for after this. So after this, they came to the conclusion of three different types of acquisitions. The first one being type A, which is customer access. This is the ability for the acquisition to connect to new potential customers. Type B is the technology, which would essentially help improve Nano Dimension's existing technology. A Type C acquisition is the capital equipment, which would help them sell equipment for the printed circuit board market. And Type NG is applying their existing deep learning to whatever products these other acquisitions mergers and acquisitions might have to unlock their value. And so you could visualize this. They added this nice little chart right here for you guys to look at. Now, for all of this to even be possible, they got to have the right management team on the in the business for this to even be executed. Firstly, we have Yoav Stern, which is the CEO and chairman of the business. He is a graduate from the Air Force Academy. He has worked in a variety of mergers and acquisitions, so he really does know his stuff when it comes to making good decisions here. We have Hanan Gino. He is the chief product officer and head of strategic mergers and acquisitions, alongside with Yoav Stern. He's got 23 years at Obrotech, which is another publicly traded company. He was the president of the printed circuit board division before his joining of Nano Dimension. He's managed over 1,200 employees and has managed companies with around 200 million plus in revenues up to $400 million in revenue. We have Yael Sandler, which is the chief financial officer of the business. She worked at the accounting firm KPMG 4 years and studied at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. She has been with the company as far as I've been covering them, so this management has not changed very much at all, at least as of recent. And with their recent acquisitions, we did add people like Dr. Eli David, which is the Chief Technical Officer of Deep Learning and Machine Learning. He's the brains behind DeepCube. Alongside him, we have the Head of Research and Development at DeepCube. We have some new guys from Nanofabrica that joined. And we have Dr. Jaim Nolman, which is the material scientist at Nano Dimension and is helping produce the materials that are going to be the future of this company. And that concludes Nano Dimension's most recent presentation that was released today. If you guys have any questions about this, just leave a comment below. I'm really happy that I was able to share this with you guys and am able to update you guys regarding what their goals are and what exactly you're buying into whenever you buy into this company. So really, this should open up your mind with what you're getting when you decide to invest in this company. If you're trying to invest in this company to get rich quick, that move already happened last year. I think from now on it's going to be slow movement, and investors really are going to wait for material developments in this company before they start to pile back into Nano Dimension. Now, one last time, I will remind you guys, I do have a free newsletter. All you have to do is go to johnpaulinvesting.substack.com and you will have access to my newsletter absolutely free. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you guys learned anything from this video, make sure you guys hit that like button. Not only does the YouTube algorithm love it, but it helps support the channel. While you're down there, go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell notification to get notified when I make videos just like this one. Thank you guys for making it this far into the video, and I will see you in the next one.